So I'm thinking just as I go about a few things related to how men and women behave, and I think how men and women view each other. And it seems initially that I would say that men are addicted to women, and this addiction frames men's behavior very much, and it means that men value women more than they value themselves. And I'm thinking, for example, of the expression, the famous imperative that goes, women and children to the lifeboats first. So I'm thinking that a man would have created that imperative, and men seek to follow that imperative as well. So a man would basically view the woman beside him as being more valuable than himself. And this does seem to be the view that men have of themselves, that they are worth less than women, they are less important than women, and the health and well being of women is far more at issue than his own. I think this is obviously unfortunate how men view themselves as being worth less than women. And it does seem to it does seem to mean that men would view harm to being done to themselves as being justified and even necessary. Men, as I said, for example, don't see a problem with women being put on the lifeboats first. Men see it as appropriate and justified and the way things should be. So I'm wondering about this. It seems as if men compete with each other strongly for the attentions of women. And men definitely seem to see women as being more valuable, more important than other men, and in themselves indeed. So I'm wondering how to tackle this. How do we encourage men to see themselves as valuable and to see to their own welfare and not just solely women's welfare? I think it's a real shame how men compete with each other and don't encourage each other. I think that there is a huge problem, I suppose, in the way men view themselves. And nature clearly seems to have designed it this way to encourage reproduction. So women matter more because they manufacture children. So men seem to be seen more as enablers of child production and supporters of the family situation. But the creators, the primary enablers of family are women. So I'm wondering about this, and what I'm wondering is, does this basic fact of biology, the way reproduction works, does it mean that things have to be this way? Society has to operate the way it does, and men have to be regarded as being second class. Men have to compete with each other, and men have to accept and expect even to be mistreated and see it as ordinary and acceptable. So I'm basically wondering how to get men to view themselves more highly and to want a better life for themselves. As things stand presently, men are only interested, it seems, in the welfare of women, and their own welfare is simply not relevant, it's not important to men. Men accept adversity and mistreatment readily and even expect things to be this way. And I think it's a real shame the way men view themselves. And I have sought to try and correct this situation and to get men to view themselves more highly and to see themselves as important. So whether I've exceeded to in any extent, I'm just not sure. But I think I'm still inclined to keep trying, but I do need to find a way to reach men so that men can learn to value themselves. I hope I can succeed.